There you go. Oh, no. Okay, cool. Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's me, Mr. Mario. Welcome to another episode of Thrifty Gaming Pickups, and this is going to be quite a different one. This might not only be the most expensive Thrifty Gaming Pickups, but also on top of that, it's going to be probably the most modern one, I'd say. And some people might be looking at this not believing it, alright? I'm going to explain all the stories here, right, Lily? And Lily was here for a few of them as well, too, so it's very fitting that she's here. Anyways, I should actually introduce this show here. In case you do not know, this is a show that I like to do on my second channel. I did say second, so if you're wanting something that is more tutorial-based, maybe more educational, and certainly more edited, you can look down below in the description, and it will be linked to my main channel, Mr. Mario 2011. But this is a show where I like to go and show all the stuff that I've picked up gaming related that I might have gotten at garage sales, thrift stores, just gotten good deals on, what have you. So therefore, that's where this Thrifty Gaming Pickup show comes in. And generally what I like to do is I like to get, a decent stack of stuff so I can show you all. And then once the pile gets to be a little bit too big, I record a episode and then I integrate it all into my collection here. And again, this is typically I get older stuff, as you can see right there, and I might get like original Xboxes, PlayStation 2s, all that stuff. Still have never picked up a PS3 actually and shown it on here, although I have picked up PS3s here and there, but certainly. Lily, you want another treat? There you go. Okay. But certainly, I've never shown anything this recent, and there's a lot. So let's go ahead and get into this here. What I typically do, I'm going to go over the games, and then I'll go over the consoles, and I think this might be a shorter-ish episode, because I'll have a few stories to tell. But anyways, let's go ahead and just sit on the floor and get into this, shall we? So, excuse me, Lily? Lily, I'll need you to move a little, please. Lily, you're a good dog, though. Good dog. All right. Okay. Sorry, Lily. I don't have any more. I really don't have any more. Let me go ahead and you know what? Let's try and stack this up a little bit so we're not doing all the spoilers here. Although if you have a good eye, you will have seen what everything is here. So, first of all, I am going to be going over. Lily, you really like the smell of these. I'm going to be going over all these games, and this is actually going to be pretty easy to do, because you see, what ended up happening here was, yes, Lily? This giant stack of games I actually end up getting all in one go. You see, there was a sale that was going on, and I have talked before about half-price books. This place right here, half-price books can be great depending on the place you go to and such. And yes, can I help you? Alright, you just made a funny noise. Anyways, half-price books can be a fantastic place to pick up games from. And I've picked up many games going to several different half-price books locations while I've been doing this series here. And several weeks prior, I guess it might be even longer by the time you all are seeing this, Half Price Books was having just a giant, what is the word for it? Just sale extravaganza, clearance sale, I guess you can say. And this isn't just like the regular clearance section. Like, no, they were having like a big expo to get rid of everything. So they were constantly restocking, and they had, just like everything, just like a little bit of everything. They had books, vinyl, CDs, DVDs, games, of course. The game section was small, but they still had quite a bit. And what I did was I decided to go through here and pick up several games that I do not own. And thankfully, I have actually been categorizing my collection. I've categorized most of it, or I guess cataloged, I guess I should say, most of my game collection in a Google Doc. So therefore, again, everything here is stuff that I didn't already own. So it was really nice going through that to save, myself the trouble of getting any duplicates or what have you on there. But on top of that, there were also several games that I could have gotten, and I said, no, I'm not going to play this realistically. So let's go ahead and show what was obtained. And at the end, I'm going to tell you the price for all these. So first of all, I played a demo of this a while ago. Always wanted to pick it up, just never have. But UFC 2009 Undisputed. Never played it on the PS3. I played it on 360, but never owned it. So cool to have that. America's Army Rise of a Soldier. Not sure how good or bad this game might be, because I've never played the America's Army series, but Figured I'd pick it up on the original Xbox. Full Spectrum Warrior. This right here, Lily, this was a game I was actually surprised that I did not own. I thought I owned it, and thankfully I cataloged and everything my collection, but I did not own this game. And I think I've seen this several times for like $7, $8, $10, and I've just never really been motivated to pick it up. Never played it, but I figured while I was there, I'll pick it up. Greg Hastings Tournament Paintball Maxed. I have the first one, and now I have it maxed, so looks like I have both that were on the original Xbox. MX 2002, never played this. Pirates of the Caribbean, from Bethesda, as you all can see. Now, this was a little bit surprising to me. I completely forgot Bethesda and ZeniMax had worked on this here. I actually remember there was I have a story about this game. I never played it because of this, so now I'm actually more interested now because I don't care as much about the hardware and I know how to refurbish it and such. Point being here, I don't think anything bad will happen, but I think it was in GamePro. There was like Gaming Watchdog or something like that in there, and there was somebody who wrote in and said, hey, I was renting Pirates of the Caribbean and I was playing it on my Xbox and it ended up giving me a red light error. What happened? And they said that there was something wrong with the way this game was developed or pressed, and because of that, it was actually causing a lot of Xboxes to have red light issues, like the original Xboxes. And I remember at one point when I was younger, I read that, and then like maybe within a week, my mom surprised me, and she came back home with a few games from Blockbuster or something, and I saw this, and I was like, Mom, no, you shouldn't have gotten this for me. She's like, well, why not? Do you not like it? I'm like, no, Mom, there's something wrong with it. I read about it in a magazine. It's ruining Xboxes. And she was just shocked, so she immediately took that back and was all like, yeah, my son said that this is breaking Xboxes, so he doesn't want to play it. And they were nice about it, you know, worked out. So, yeah, I've never played it to this day because of that report. I'll be interested to try it out, though. SX Superstar, have never even heard of this, but picked it up. X-Men 3, the official game, or X3, the official game, however you want to call it, I guess. I have a feeling this probably isn't going to be too good, but, whatever. This is a game I was surprised I did not have. I've never played it. I don't know if it's any good or not, to be honest, but I've always seen the cover, and it seemed like a game, I don't know, I might be interested in giving a shot, so I decided to give it a shot here. GT Pro Series on Wii. That's the only Wii game I got. Call of Duty Finest Hour on the GameCube. Did not have this on GameCube, but while I was there, I said, let's go ahead and pick it up. This game I played a demo of a long time ago, and I thought it was really cool, and I still never bought it. But Jet Li's Rise to Honor. This was actually pretty interesting because you end up fighting using the analog sticks, so that's your sense of not only movement, but also fighting. So, interesting. I don't know. I'll have to give it a fair shot now that I actually own the game. Then the Xbox 360 titles. This was the big haul here out of everything, so not this game, but 360 in general. Battlefield Hardline. I had actually played through this on the 360 before. I wanted to see how it was, because I tried the Xbox One version, and the Xbox 360 version was the one that I actually decided to, I think I just borrowed it at the time, but I played through it, and I actually really enjoyed it. It didn't look as nice, admittedly, and then I did notice there was things like music and such that were changed, and I don't remember if any of the campaign was changed on there, because I didn't play the multiplayer. I was just really interested in playing the campaign, which is why I ended up borrowing it. I was like, I just want to play this for like a day or two, go through the campaign, and be done. I'm never going to touch the multiplayer. But I now actually have it on 360, so it might be interesting to do another comparison again, just personally. Blazing Angels 2, Secret Missions of World War II. I always saw this cover, like at game shops and the game stores I worked at and such. Never played it. The Club. This has an interesting history to it, to my knowledge at least. This was developed by the same team that did Project Gotham Racing. So all of a sudden, they went from Project Gotham Racing, doing 4 of them, I believe, all of a sudden to a big third-person shooting game. I've never played this, never played a demo or anything. It looks like shoot your way through 48 single-player levels. I don't know if this has an actual story. It does have a single player, and I know it had an online component which died off quick enough, but I don't know anything about the actual storyline, if there is anything to it. I could read the back of it, but I didn't. So I saw this, decided to pick it up. Fracture. I remember playing this briefly, thought it was cool, and then I eventually got rid of it because I paid almost nothing for it and decided to get rid of it. Guitar Hero 3 Legends of Rock. I decided to pick this up because even though I don't have any of the guitar controllers or anything anymore, some of the Guitar Hero games, I think it's 2, 3, Aerosmith, I want to say those are the ones, you can actually play them with a standard controller. And I know it sounds kind of silly, like instead of playing with a fake instrument, you're playing with a controller. But here's the thing, if you've ever played the game's Amplitude or Frequency on PS2, it pretty much just becomes that. It's about the same thing when you play with a controller. So I actually had some friends who, they would play through Guitar Hero 2 and 3 just with a controller and had a lot of fun with it, like a standard Xbox 360 controller. So I said, you know what, I'm seeing these here, let me go ahead and grab them. It might be fun just to do that. Guitar Hero Aerosmith, speaking of that, I did have these games at one point, got rid of them along with all my Guitar Hero and Rock Band stuff, but, you know, when I'm finding them for cheap, I pick them up, depending on how I feel. Lost via Damus. I remember this game being super easy. I used a walkthrough to play through it all, and I played through this game completely before I ever watched Lost. I ended up finding this for like $20 at a Best Buy, like 15 or 20 bucks when I was young, and I was doing a bunch of achievement hunting. And I remember this was supposed to be a game that was super easy to get the achievements, and trust me, it is. I ended up getting the 1000 gamer score, and then I sold it off later on. It was interesting. I remember playing through, and I was like, oh, this is actually pretty interesting. But I didn't know all that much about it because I never played, I never watched Lost. So I think I might do I might just get another account and do the 1000 gamer score again, but actually play through it being aware of the show, because I do like Lost and I have watched it through. So now it's like I would actually know the references and such. The Outfit. Okay, you know what? I actually lied. This game here, I do already own, and I decided to pick it up again because 1, this one is complete, 2, it's in much better condition, and 3, this one should hopefully work. I have a copy of the Outfit that I ended up paying like a few bucks for from a thrift store, and I believe it's cracked, so the game won't even work properly. But I decided, you know, I see it there, I'm going to pick this up. These games I had at one point, and I was actually surprised to see that I don't own them anymore, but I decided to throw them back into the collection. Rainbow Six Vegas, which I didn't think was all too good. And this is objectively, and in my opinion, the better one, Rainbow Six Vegas 2. I remember when this one came out, people were just hyping the ever-living hell out of it and were super excited for it to drop. And then when it dropped, all of my friends were on it. And then I think, if I remember correctly, it really angered the community, and a lot of my friends who were into it got really angry about it too and stopped playing or sold off their copies. In short, maybe someone who's played this game a lot can speak on it better, but from what I remember, the dev team wanted to prevent people from spawn killing and camping as much as they were, so they ended up creating random spawn points. And then at that point, pretty much all my friends who were playing this game migrated from Call of Duty, and they had gotten tired of Call of Duty for being Call of Duty, and then they loved Rainbow Six Vegas too. But then of course as they were mastering it, they were spawn killing and kind of spawn camping and doing all that. So then what one of my friends said is, he said it was my favorite game until they turned it into Call of Duty with the random spawns. So I don't know how accurate that is. Maybe someone else can speak on it who did the multiplayer a lot more, but from what I gather, that was it. So I need to play through these again. Seen It Box Office Smash. Now, I believe there was 3 Seen It games for the Xbox 360, and I actually have the original Seen It game that comes with all the controllers and such, and I had it before, like years and years and years ago, sold it off, and then picked it up again, and I showed it through Thrifty Gaming Pickups, but I got a pretty solid deal on it, and this is the second Seen It game, I believe, and for how cheap it was, I decided to grab it. I did not have this game here, Sega Superstars Tennis, never even played it, so I actually look forward to giving it a fair shot. And it does come with the Xbox Live Arcade compilation disc, which this is a fantastic compilation disc. If you are at all looking for them, do yourself a favor, pick this up, but you might want to pick up the double pack here. The only thing is, this one, yeah, it didn't come with any of the manuals, unfortunately, so that was the only downside. Not all these are complete, but again, I'll tell you all the price here momentarily. This game, surprisingly, I've been looking for this game for a while. Now, I have all the other Splinter Cells on Xbox 360 and on Xbox, and this is the only one I was missing. I actually don't own this game on the original Xbox or the 360, and I've never played this. From what I know about this, though, a lot of people either loved it or hated it when it comes to the Splinter Cell series, and it was the first one on the 360, hence why it also came out on the original Xbox, but I've been waiting to find a good deal on it, and every time I see it, I don't even see that often anymore, but every time I see it, it's like $5 or $10 more than I'm willing to pay. But I finally saw it, it's in good condition, it's complete as well, and again, I haven't revealed it yet, but for how much I paid, I was really happy about that. Titanfall on the Xbox 360. I actually put a decent amount of hours into this. I had it at one point, sold it, decided to get it, even though it's probably completely dead, but just for giggles, I wanted to pick it up, because, again, also the price as well, too. This game, funny enough, I've played it on all the platforms, PC, Xbox One, and Xbox 360. And the Xbox 360 version is objectively the worst version in terms of visuals. I believe it's missing a few other things. The sound on this is awful. Because if you know anything about like the PC version of Titanfall, it was notorious for being a huge game at the time. And the reason why it's so huge is because all the audio is uncompressed. So I was playing it on PC where it was great, and then I would play it on Xbox One. I wasn't too crazy about it on Xbox One. In the 360 version, I got it specifically to play with one of my friends. Shout out to Tan Squid or Tanner. But I was playing it with him on there, and I remember at one point, one of my best friends, Sean, he came over and I was showing him the 360 version because he wanted to check it out. And he was disgusted by how it sounded. Like, the audio was so compressed and just sounded so bad and so tinny. Just like the shooting and everything, it was horrible. The audio took the biggest hit on here, aside from graphics. The other really weird thing that Titanfall on Xbox 360 did, the other very weird thing about this is it didn't let you install the game to your hard drive. So look at this. It says hard drive required, like it posts it up right there, which is a common thing in later Xbox 360 titles. But you could not install this game to your hard drive. So you would pop it in and it would install part of the game, like it would copy part of the game to the hard drive to cache, and you would need to download any updates. But the actual game disc itself, if you tried to install it, you could not. Like, for whatever reason, I think they kind of did the Halo 3 thing, where with Halo 3 on the Xbox 360, it came out at a time where it ended up utilizing the cache in a certain way so that it was actually better to play off the disc with a hard drive, because Halo 3 required a hard drive as well to use all of it. It played better using that as opposed to installing the game from the disc to your hard drive and then playing off the hard drive and caching off there. And Halo 3, I remember Bungie warned people when the install feature for 360 came out, and they said, hey, even though you might want to install the game to your hard drive, you're actually going to have worse performance. So please play it off the disc itself, because we use the hard drive as a caching mechanism, and from disc to hard drive, it works. But from hard drive to hard drive, you end up losing that completely. So I feel like what happened here is that Titanfall utilized that same thing, and then they blocked installing on purpose so that they could utilize that. But the final thing about this, which the Titanfall community did confirm, and I confirmed it with the many hours I played across all of them, this game loaded up the fastest. Like, between levels, getting into game, everything, for whatever reason, if you had a PC, if you had the Xbox One copy, they did not load nearly as fast as the 360 version. I can't explain that to you. I don't get the logic behind it, but for whatever reason, you could get in game much faster on the 360 version than the Xbox One or PC versions. Last thing I got here was Two Worlds 2. I played the first one, was absolutely awful. And I've never played the second one here, but from what I saw, it actually got pretty average to good reviews, and I can't tell if it was an actually good RPG, or if the first one was just so awful, specifically on 360, if the first one was just so awful that the second one was great. But I talked with a few people who played this and who really liked it, but one of my friends did say that. He was kind of like, yeah, no, Two Worlds 2, I mean, it's okay at best. It's just the first one was so awful that the second one is anywhere from average to good when you compare it. So those are all of the games that I ended up getting. As you can see, all these stacks right here of games. And I had them alphabetized in case you didn't notice there, so I'll have to work on that again. But I did not give you all the prices on them. And there's a reason. I did not pay in bulk for them, but again, you saw all the games here. Every single video game at this place was $2. So I paid $2 per game. And I think on top of that as well too, let me see which one it was. I'm trying to remember. There was one game. Here we go. No, okay. I'm gonna have to look through them here, mind you. Let me just actually do that. But yes, it was $2 per game for every single one. I was super happy with that price, so that's why I was going after a bunch. There were some games I even ended up deciding to get, and then I thought on them a bit, and I was like, no, I don't need these. There were also a few games, unfortunately, where I was all for buying them, and then what ended up happening was they didn't have the disc in there, and I don't know if it was put out like that on the floor, or if it was just, here we go, or if it was just traded in on accident like that. The last game I got, this is the only one I did not pay $2 for because it came included in here, was I got Wii Sports, the manual for it. So you might be thinking, oh, it's a free copy of Wii Sports. No, it's Wii Sports Resort. So I ended up getting this for free out of everything because, again, it's a Wii Sports Resort with a Wii Sports manual inside of a case for Greg Hastings Tournament Paintball Maxed on the Xbox. I don't know either. As you can see, I opened up the Wii version, like the Wii game, because I was like, oh, it's logically going to be there, but no, that's exactly where it was. So that was the only game that I got for free out of everything here. But all the other games that I just showed you all, I paid $2 a piece for them. And I have to say, I was pretty happy with those. So that's why there was some of them where I was like, oh, like this might be a meme-worthy game that I could play. Or some other titles where I was like, oh, this is actually a really good deal for $2. Something I was looking for. Like, for example, Rise to Honor, Call of Duty, Splinter Cell, Double Agent. Like, that I never see for $2. Right, Lily? Never ever see that for $2. So I was definitely surprised with what I saw there and everything. But yeah. So there's all the games that I ended up getting. We can go ahead and move those there. And now, you all might have been drawn to the consoles here. And I am going to say, first of all, this might teeter Thrifty Gaming Pickups a little bit. You see, when people think when I'm talking about Thrifty Gaming Pickups, they think I'm talking about stuff like this. $2 games, or a $10 original Xbox, or a $20 Xbox 360. I can assure you, none of these items was like as low as like $20, $30, $40. The cheapest item in all of these is $100, and it's pretty easy to guess which one it is. So I'm going to be showing you everything here. Funny enough too, most of this stuff is not going to be mine, but I did end up buying it. So here, let's go ahead and get into it. First of all, I got not one, not two, but I got 3 of these new 2DS XL consoles. So there was only 2 variants here. I'll explain to you why I got these. So I've been eyeing these for a while, and this is also going to be something, hopefully it'll be a favor for you all as well too. I've been eyeing these here for a while, and I've been talking with my brothers, and my 2 younger brothers, they absolutely love the 3DS lineup, and they love the DS lineup. They grew up with the DS Lites, and then they end up getting 3DSs, and I've kind of swapped them out, upgraded them, modded them as well too, done a few things for them. They were thinking, essentially, their DS Lites are kind of having a few issues, and the 3DSs, they're having some issues with them too. And I said, you know what, guys, because at first they were wanting to upgrade their original DSs. And I was like, yeah, sure, we could do that. And they asked about the 3DSs, and I was like, you know what, how about this? How about we'll just upgrade your 3DSs, and you could play all your DS stuff on there, But with that, because they were, in short, they were wanting bigger systems. So I said, how about the new 2DS XL? It's the latest and greatest from Nintendo. You won't have 3D, but then again, you never use 3D. And they were all for it. So I decided to get this one for one of them, this one for the other, and this one for myself. And I actually have mine all done up right here in my pocket, which I will show you if I can pull it out. There we go. I actually ended up finally, when I did this, I pulled the trigger and I decided to upgrade myself while I was in all this. So here is my own new 2DS XL. This system right here, I ended up just transfer. I actually did a transfer from, I have a new 3DS XL, but I've still wanted this for the form factor, plus I don't use a 3D. And I decided to system transfer. It's already been modified and it has all my stuff on there. So I finally got the system that I wanted. So that is my own. And these two are still in the box. They've been modified and everything. So we are good to go on that front. But this you guys can actually pick up. I'm not doing a giveaway, mind you. But these you can pick up on Nintendo's refurbished site for $100. It comes with the box, as you can see, the 3DS, well, the new 2DS XL system, a 4GB micro SD card, and a charger. So for $100, these are absolutely well worth it. And they have some other systems as well too, if you want the new 3DS XL or if you want the regular 2DS. The 2DS I want to say is like $50. That's a really good deal too. But yes, Nintendo's refurb site, at least in US dollars, you can pick up one of these right here. I did end up paying, I paid a little bit more separately. I ended up getting these on AliExpress. I ended up getting some nice cases for them. And then I also got some tempered glass screen protectors for both screens. So I spent like, you know, another $10 altogether on each system. But yeah, that's what I can recommend to you all. If you all are at all interested in getting any of these here, they are only, at least in US dollars, they are $100. I can totally tell you they are well worth it, and they pretty much come brand new. So I cannot recommend that enough. But that was, I guess, one of the thrifty pickups there. Again, a little bit more expensive, mind you. But let's go ahead and move those over to the side here. Right, Lily? And actually, I'm going to give Lily, there you go. I'm going to give her my 2DS. There you go. So, next up, we have a couple systems here. So, these again are also, only one of these was for me. These two are not for me, but I did pick these up. So, right here, this was the first one. I ended up picking this up first, and I actually ended up getting these all in the same weekend. Not the systems, but like these two right here. So I actually just picked up this, and that's what I'm doing the video over, just so I can kind of, you know, organize it and such. So for these systems here, I'm just going to have to, I can't name who they're for. My brothers know about these ones already, but I can't name these ones just because the people who are watching might, they might be going to someone who's watching, is what I'll say. So I cannot reveal that, and I'm even going to I'm going to remove some information on that as well too, just even further information that might help further the story, just because of that. For this here, in short, I had a friend who was wanting to pick up a Switch, and they were kind of between the Switch and the Switch Lite, and we had discussed it as well too, and I was thinking for them it would be better to get a Switch Lite, or not a Switch Lite, excuse me, a regular Switch, just because they already have a Switch in their household. And I said, well, you know what, if you have two regular Switches, it's actually going to be better than having a Switch and a Switch Lite, especially since, you know, you can swap out controllers, you'll have multiple docks at that point. The Switch Lite, I'm sure, would do you really well until maybe a few months in, you realize, oh, I want to dock this to my TV and I physically can't do it because the hardware is there. So I said, you know what, it would be better to get a regular Switch like this. And my goal, I had a number in mind, what I wanted to pay. And I guess I could share the details of what I was finding and such. So I was wanting to pay a certain amount. And yeah, I'll share it at the end here. I was wanting to pay a certain amount of money. And I found one Switch that was slightly above what I was asking for. And I messaged this guy, this is on Craigslist, and I said, hey, you got the Switch? He said yes. By the way, I want to give some Craigslist tips and all that as well here on this episode. Always, if you can, use a Google Voice number. Don't use your regular number. Use a Google Voice number for buying, selling. It just makes everything easier. That way, if you get spammed or what have you, or your phone number gets blasted all over the place, or you get trolled, you can just delete your number. I've been blessed enough that I've been using the same Google Voice number for like 6 or 7 years and nothing's happened, but it does give me, it does make me feel better knowing that if anything happens with that number, I can just literally go into my Google Voice account, kill that number, create a new one, and that's it. But that's definitely what I can recommend. So I always use Google Voice for Craigslist. I never use my real number. Nothing happened here. I just thought that would be a good tip to give as I'm doing this. So what ended up happening was I reached out to this person. They were only selling the Switch itself. I said, hey, would you take this lower amount, which is what I wanted to pay? And they said, sorry, I can't do that. And I was like, okay, whatever, it's all good. Thanks for letting me know. And they did reach out later to try and sell it to me for that lower amount. But in the meantime, I didn't take it because I ended up finding this bundle. So that guy, he was selling his for $220. That's what he was asking for, which for a Switch itself, is certainly not bad, especially when the tablet itself, the console tablet itself, sells for like $150. And that was another thing too. I was thinking of getting my friend here only the tablet, but the problem is they don't have extra controllers, they don't have extra Joy-Con, they don't have an extra charger, they don't have any of the extra stuff. So they would have to get everything else individually. So at that point, I was like, I am looking for a Switch with the Joy-Cons, the dock, and all the cables that are needed. I don't even need the box. Don't even need that. So, getting back to this, in the meantime, I found another ad, and keep in mind, the first person I contacted, their ad had been up for like 2 weeks, and they were very stringent, and they were very firm on, I want the full asking price. So, imagine my surprise when another ad goes up. Not from them, but from someone else completely. And within an hour, I hopped on it. They were selling this Switch with this wired, I believe it's a Power A branded, this wired Power A controller, which I was shocked because I've shown this to several people and they're like, wow, that is a really awesome controller. I'm like, dude, it's a third-party controller, man. But, it looks cool, but I don't know, it's just, I'm not excited about it. So I ended up getting the Switch with the box here, this controller, and let's go ahead and open this up. It gets better. It has everything, all right? The Switch is in there. I've already factory reset it, all that stuff. It has both the Joy-Con with this controller. It's not the Comfort Grip, but I don't know what the hell this is called. I don't even like this thing, but it came with it, all right? The charger, the HDMI cable, the dock is in there. And then check this out. It came with Fire Emblem Warriors and Fire Emblem Three Houses. And my jaw dropped when I end up seeing this. Because, one, this is the best problem to have, all right? I already own this game, all right? I already own it. I actually have the limited edition of it, so I don't need a duplicate copy. And this game I had just bought the day before. I just bought this the day before online from someone for $45, which was a great deal because this game is really not going on sale, and I finally tried it out. I really liked it, so I wanted to actually get it. And I was waiting to find it for 40 or 45 bucks. So I was feeling pretty proud of myself that I got this for 45, right? And then this comes up and I'm like, are you kidding me? So I actually did reach out to that person. I was like, hey, can we cancel this transaction? They said no. I think they just wanted to keep the money. And I was like, okay, it's all good. The reason why I want to cancel it is because I'm now getting a second copy of this and I don't need 2 copies. And they're like, oh, sorry. And I was like, it's all good. I'll figure out something to do with them. So I now have 2 copies of Fire Emblem Three Houses, as well as 2 copies of Fire Emblem Warriors here. But what ended up happening was I ended up getting, again, the controller with the Switch box here. The only thing with the box is that, as you can see, stuff is all over the place, and I did notice it's a little bit water damaged. It wasn't fitting together right, and then when I looked at it, it looks like it has been hit with water at one point, which is no big deal. Everything else is fine. The Switch works, it goes online, everything else works just fine. And then I got these 2 games. I paid $200 for this. $200 for everything here. Again, this is the complete original Switch with 2 games, and this game, again, I can't find, like, Fire Emblem Three Houses has surprised me with how much it has blown up. I think it surprised everyone because even I remember the first 2 or 3 weeks the game came out, so many places had restocking issues and so many people could not find them, and GameStop, Best Buy, Walmart, all these places, they just said, yeah, sorry, if you didn't pre-order the game, we can't sell it to you, and all we can tell you is just wait for our next shipment to come in. Like, this game sold gangbusters, and it's really good. I finally, again, I wanted to actually try it out before buying it. I finally tried it, really liked it, I decided to buy it. But yeah, this absolutely shocked me. So again, I was seeing somebody who was trying to sell a Switch alone for $220 and would not budge, and then this person was asking $200 for everything. And I immediately hopped on it. They said yes, asking price. I gave the asking price. I was like, I'm not even trying to negotiate this. I don't look, when I buy stuff on Craigslist, I'm really not trying to lowball. If I can get a better deal, cool, but I also pay what I feel like something is worth. So for example, if like the Switch, for example, as I said with the other one, my goal, I can say it now, I did not want to pay more than $200 for a Switch. That's why that $20 was really stopping me right there. But when I can find something like this, I'm not trying to lowball the person. I'm like, no, this thing is going to go fast. So here, take your $200 and we'll go. The best part of this was as well, the next day we end up exchanging early in the morning, and I met the guy. Seemed like a real nice guy. I actually brought Lily with me. That's another thing. I don't own a weapon. I don't have protection, but I do have Lily. So I've actually started bringing Lily to my Craigslist transactions because it's also just nice to have, you know, a dog hanging out in the car. But I ended up checking out the Switch when we were there, and I asked him about it because I was like, because he said in his listing he didn't really like Nintendo games. And I was like, so you're not vibing with Nintendo stuff? What's going on? He said, yeah, no, I just like the older stuff. I really don't like any of the new stuff. And he was like, yeah, my account is on there. If you want to, you can use my saves. And I was like, no, it's all good. I'm going to wipe your account, so don't worry about that. Both of these consoles have been like that, actually. But either way, he did offer about that. He was nice. I paid him the money, and we said good day. The best part about that was the guy was very nice. Don't get me wrong. But he came out of his car and he was wearing a black hoodie and it had the word hentai across the back of it, which it's still one of my favorite things to share about that. But either way, my friend here is going to be getting, as a present, he's going to be getting this Switch with the controller. And I already asked about these. Man, you know, I feel like I'm giving it away. God, if you're watching it, now you know who it's for if you're watching it. I asked about these games and just kind of off the cuff, and he said, no, I'm not really interested in the Fire Emblem series. So I was like, all right, I already own Warriors and I already own Three Houses. I can't return it, so let me look around. And here's the thing, I guess when it comes to this, I would rather kind of help out a friend with a present or something as opposed to try and like go and immediately resell something. Sometimes I might, I don't know, it depends, but also if this can help out a friend or what have you. So I will say this guy's name, David, one of my best friends. He also helped me out a ton recently. I was having some basement flooding in one of the recent episodes of Mario's Minute where it had Pathogen David on there. We actually talked about this on there, but he helped out a ton. He took a week out of his time to help out. So I've paid him not only in cash, but also I gave him a bunch of duplicate games that I went through and didn't need anymore, which I pretty much, I had all my dupes and I said, here you go, pick what you want. He took like 2 bags of games with him. And what happened was we have talked about Fire Emblem Three Houses several times and he seemed to enjoy it. So I actually reached out to him. I was like, hey dude, Three Houses, what do you think of it? And he was like, oh yeah, no, I really like it. It's a cool game, not my favorite type of thing. I don't think I'd really pay for it right now, but I think it's pretty cool. And I was like, oh, well, I have an extra copy of Three Houses. Do you want it? And he said, yeah, I'll take it. I was like, cool. I also have an extra copy of Warriors. Would you like that? And he was like, yeah, I actually really like that style of game, so sure, I'll probably like it. So I said, awesome. I've got your Christmas presents covered. There you go. Merry Christmas. So whenever I see him next, these will be his Christmas presents. So I am parting it out a little bit. But yeah, all of this, again, was $200. And all this brand new was probably around $450 before tax. So I was absolutely shocked at that. Again, my goal was I wanted to get the original Switch with the cables, everything I would need, for the same price as a Switch Lite. So I'm utterly just I still can't believe that I got that deal. Again, it's not for me, it's for a friend. So it's one of those things where it's like, even though I went through the rush of getting the deal and everything, I'm not going to be keeping this, but it's all good. I have my own Switch that I love. I've got a modded Switch as well. My girlfriend has a Switch, so we don't need any more Switches in the household. And now, next up, the PS4. This is for another one of my friends here, and we were looking for, well, I guess not we, because I don't even know yet. I was looking for a PS4 for this friend, and what ended up happening here was I was looking around, and this was literally, again, the same weekend where I was doing all of this. So I did find a PS4 Pro. They were asking $280 for it, right? And I got them down to $250 without the games. That's what I was wanting. I just wanted a PS4 Pro with, like, if, I guess my numbers here, I was wanting to pay $200 for a PS4 regular or slim, or $250 for a Pro. Even less than that if I could for the regular or slim. My reasoning being is that last year for Black Friday, I haven't even looked at the stuff yet, so this episode is probably going to come out closer to Black Friday, but last year, so 2018 Black Friday, stores were selling PS4 Slims with Spider-Man for $200 and a $50 gift card, or even just $200 and a $25 gift card. So that's where that number was coming from. But what ended up happening was I was gonna buy a PS4 Slim console only with the cables and controller for $250. It got sold to someone else, and I was like, okay, you know what? It is what it is. It happens. So I decided to look through Craigslist again. I hit up every single person who was selling a PS4 Pro, and there was only like 5. Okay, one person said they already sold theirs. 2 of them never responded. The last one ended up responding, and we started talking back and forth, and I ended up negotiating down. And I guess I've already spoiled it a little bit, but here you go. This is what I got, because it's in a regular PS4 box. But check this out. That, my friends, in case you cannot tell, there we go. We got the 3. Look at this. Look how fat this thing is. There, you can tell. This, my friends, is a PS4 Pro. They were asking $280 for it, and I ended up offering $250. The guy took it, and I was shocked. He ended up taking it. It's in, I need to clean it up, but it's in quite solid shape. It comes with, not the original box, of course, but it comes with the power cable, the HDMI cable, a micro USB cable, which is honestly not that good, and the seller was honest with me. He was like, yeah, it doesn't really work that well unless you get it in a certain way, but these are like a dime a dozen. I was aware of that. And the PS4 Pro, or at least the one that comes with the newer PS4 DualShock 4. You can tell because it's just the colors are a little bit different, and also it shows the light bar status right up here when you're playing, so you don't have to stare at it right there. But I ended up getting this, and it also came with these 2 games. It came with Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which, as someone, I tried this out, as someone who has never played the Assassin's Creed games really past like 3 or 4, I was shocked at how much different this one was. And Destiny 2 Forsaken Legendary Collection. Now the problem is I really won't be able to utilize this fully because, well, one, I technically have Destiny 2 on PS4. It was given to me digitally through PlayStation Plus, and now it's free because of some changes. So Destiny 2 base game is free, but Forsaken comes with a code, and I am quite sure this code has been used. And even this guy, so I kind of talked about this before, this guy, he was super nice, and he was like, yeah, you know, I can include these games with it, and you'll have even more games if you use my account. And I was like, no, don't worry about it. I'm going to wipe your console. If you do not wipe it before you give it to me, I will not be touching your account. And he was like, oh, okay, I understand. So I had back-to-back 2 people for different systems who were just willing to give me their accounts, and I'm just very much a person, I'm like, no. I'm going to wipe the system. I will not be touching your stuff. It's not only, I guess it's not so much a legal thing. I guess it's more of a principle thing. I don't like playing on other people's accounts, other people's saves. I also just, I just want to, you know, break myself clean of that. So, there. But yeah. Getting back to this here, even the story behind this, so it was much more condensed, I guess you can say, but I ended up reaching out to this person. Again, I offered the money on there, and this is one tip, another tip I can give you all. this system was on sale, which is still $280 for the system with, you know, these two games, I think is a great deal. But this system had been on sale for 2 or 3 weeks. And mind you, it is all about timing. It's location, location, location. But here's another thing with it. I did notice that this guy, his listing, it was very general. It just said something like the PS4 was in like new condition, and it said something along the lines of PS4 Pro, great condition, comes with games. And the photo was just a stock photo of the PS4. So it looked like a scammy post. It looked like it didn't exist. But I decided, I was like, you know what do I have to lose? Honestly, what do I have to lose? I reached out to the person, and what I asked, can you send me photos of the PS4 and the games you're selling? Because your listing has no photos, like no specific photos, and it doesn't even list the games. That was the other weird thing for me. He didn't list the games with it either. So he sent me a photo of the console, he sent me a photo of the controller, he sent me a photo of the games. And funny enough, he also sent me a photo like it was these games on a shelf with some of his PS1 games. So I kind of complimented those, and we started talking back and forth about that. I'm pretty friendly when I talk. When I'm talking to people I'm buying and selling from. I try to be, at least. But what happened was we were looking at that. Well, I was here. And I guess my tip on that could be I guess from a security standpoint, first of all, if maybe not even security, I'll get into that. I'm kind of all over the place here because I'm still excited about it. But first of all, if you see a listing like that where the person's not having a photo or anything on there, ask for photos and give your justification. My justification for this was, I said, you don't have any photos of the console itself. Can you please send me a photo of your console and a photo of the games you're selling? And he did. The next thing, this is security, reverse search those photos. If you're looking at this online, for example, like on your browser, you can open up the photo, and if you're using like Chrome, you can just right click and do a Google search for that image. I looked up all 3 of the photos he sent me. Google returned no results on them. So therefore, I knew that it was legit. I didn't have to have him take a piece of paper and like write down a username or the timestamp or anything else. So once I saw all of that, and I saw he was legit, and I saw those photos weren't just pulled from some random website, we ended up arranging a time. The next day we met up, $250. I took Lily with me again, as you can see there, and I ended up getting Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Destiny 2, the Forsaken bundle, which is just Destiny 2, and this PS4 Pro. So this is also something, again, I'm finding for my friend there, and these 2 games I'm actually going to be keeping. Well, Destiny 2, maybe. I'll offer it to my friend. But I know that he is not into Assassin's Creed Odyssey or the Assassin's Creed games. And I thought this game was pretty cool when I tried it out. So I'm most likely going to be keeping the both of these because, again, this can, you know what, actually, yeah, this can be downloaded digitally by anyone now. So I care more about physical than he does. So these 2 I'm going to be keeping because I don't have these in my physical collection. So that would be really cool. I end up not profiting, but getting something off of that, thankfully. Now, the other thing, which I do not have this yet, it's in transit right now, but I wanted to record this because I wanted to get everything situated and move all this stuff into my library, and I was just excited about it overall. So this, we're just going to have to use this as pretend, right? This is my own controller, but the other thing as well. So getting into this here, I also ended up getting free, I guess you can say, I don't know. Let me tell the story here. I have a few credit cards when it came to this. This will be like the final thing with all this here that made it all worthwhile to me, because these were already good deals, and then I didn't even think of this until after I had the money in hand for this, and I was like, wait, I could do this and it would actually help out. So what happened, again, I ended up grabbing the PS4, I got the Switch, I got everything else on that, and I have a few credit cards, and I guess I'll give you all a little bit of this episode's going on longer than I expected, but I'll give you all kind of some tips over credit card stuff as well. These were cash transactions, so it's not like these had anything to do directly with credit cards, but essentially the reason why I'm telling you all this is because I know there's a lot of people who might not know about this, or there's people who are just younger who are watching my channel. So first of all, if you are going to get a credit card, I can recommend them, but do not pretend like it's free money. Pretend like it is your own cash and pay it off at minimum in full every month. So if you don't have the money, don't spend it on the credit card, and pay it off in full every single month. Never carry a balance, and even just start small. Like, if you don't have a credit card now, apply for a credit card. Put Netflix on it every month, or only use it for gas, or only use it for groceries. And as long as you use it and you pay it off and set it to auto pay, as long as you use it and you pay it off, you will be good. And you can, build up your credit limit, you can build up your credit history, you can build up your credit report off of that. So why am I talking about credit cards here? Well, I have a few credit cards and been using them, again, just like that. I use them like cash. I don't put anything on the credit card that I don't have in the bank, and I pay off my stuff in full every single month. Thankfully, I'm in a position I can do that. I know not everyone can do that, but that's how I use my credit cards. So going back to the controller here, my oldest credit card is without a doubt my worst one. And by that I mean I guess on there, it's kind of the clunkiest to use if I have to ask or go through support or anything, or, need help on anything else on there. And the reason why I still keep it open is because it's, this can be up for debate. In some ways, it's better to just keep a credit card open and occasionally use it, as opposed to closing it out. Because if you close it out, that's all of a sudden a line of credit that you've closed out, and at least for a few years, it's sort of a blemish on your report. I guess you can say that. So with me, it's just easier to keep this card open and put like some recurring expenses on there, as opposed to closing it out completely. So that way I do use it every month. I pay it off every month, and there's only there's like $100, let's say, that goes onto that credit card every month. And it's just recurring payments that I know are going to be going through. Now, the reason why I also say it's the worst is because it's better than nothing, mind you, but it also has a rewards program. And the rewards program, I don't know how many points you get, but for how many dollars you spend, and when you pay off those dollars, you get points. And as the points accrue, you can go through their reward site. And through the reward site, if you accrue enough points for certain things, you can redeem them. So I've actually redeemed my points on there a few times. The first time I end up getting some junk that's not even worth mentioning. It's stuff that really wasn't that good, or I've gotten rid of it over the years. The second time, I ended up actually buying Breath of the Wild through there, like Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild on Switch. I gave that to my younger brothers as a Christmas present, and it was paid through my rewards on there. And I say it's not free, because to get those rewards, you have to buy stuff. Obviously, you have to use your credit card, you have to pay it off on time, and then you get the rewards points. But it's certainly something that you would get that bonus. You wouldn't get that bonus if you're just using cash, is what I'm saying. So essentially, I rarely ever look through the rewards on there, but I decided to look around, and I was kind of looking, and I saw, there's some Xbox stuff, some Nintendo stuff, some Sony stuff, and I saw the controllers there were not terrible. They were something, I don't know, they were like 66,000 points, let's say, and I had more than enough. So I actually have enough to even get like a second one if I want to. I'm just going to let them accrue. But the point being is, I know my friend is going to need a second controller, so I end up, of course, the PS4 Pro here, it comes with the controller itself. I ended up getting a second controller, brand new, thanks to my credit card rewards on my least favorite credit card, or the one that I rarely use. So that was a really nice surprise. So that's why this is in place here. This is just a stand-in actor, but just pretend that's a brand new in-package PS4 controller, and it goes to this. As for these two here, I was talking a lot about rewards and all that stuff, and rewards points and what have you, because I also have, cashback on cards as well. And cashback is it depends on the card, but in short, you spend enough, you spend money, you end up paying it off on your credit card, and then you get points for anything that you've paid off on. Lily's dreaming of something. Look at that, she's dreaming. That's so cute. But in short, you end up paying off, your credit card. As you pay it off, you end up getting points back, and then you can use those points for rewards, or if you're like me, you could just use it for cashback, because you might not care about the rewards or the gift cards or what have you. And the cashback, I think on some cards, you can just get the cash into your bank if you want, but pretty much any card with cashback, it just shows up as a credit on your statement. So if you have, let's say, $500 worth of cashback dollars, like if you have $500 worth of points that you want to use on cashback, you pretty much just get $500 off of your statement. So free, mind you, $500, and that's in that case. So what ended up happening was I was just accruing those, and I was going to wait until the end of the year, because that's typically when things get a bit more expensive, things like holiday season and all that. But my timeline got moved up a little bit thanks to these things. Also, because of some other stuff like my house having some flooding stuff. It's dry now, thankfully it's dry. But because my basement had flooded multiple times as well too, pretty recently, things were a little more expensive than needed. So I did decide to tap into that a little bit early, and I'm fine on that, thankfully. But in short, when I saw this and I kind of like added everything up, I was just shocked with this. So again, now wrapping it up, coming down to it all, in some way, I don't want to say these were free because I still had to pay for them, but I was able to cancel them out because again, the extra controller, I end up paying only using credit card reward points. And then these two systems, I feel like I got great deals on them. Like the 2 Fire Emblem games and the full Switch with the controller for $200, the PS4 Pro with the 2 games here for $250. But then when I ended up using my credit card cashback stuff, I was able to negate both of these purchases and then some. So at the end of the day, getting these doesn't even hit my bottom line, and that's where everything starts to stack up on there. So pretty much at this point here, like, I'll kind of have to bundle it up. Sorry, Lily. Anything on this side, the Switch and the PS4 related stuff, it did not affect me monetarily in the end. Now, you could also say, oh, you could have used that cash back for something else or the cash for something else, but these were things that I was planning to purchase regardless, so I wanted to get a good deal, and I got good deals on them. And then the fact that I found out afterwards, the fact that I was then able to use my rewards and my cashback stuff and everything to then essentially negate all these purchases, I'm still in disbelief. So hopefully, I know I kind of went overboard there and got a little bit wordy, and this was definitely still one of the longer episodes of Thrifty Gaming Pickups, but that's it. I feel like deal-wise, this is definitely one of the best ones. From all the stacks of $2 games to the cheap, the refurbished new 2DS XLs, which I definitely recommend you get on that if you are interested at all, to these systems right here and the ways of getting them negotiating and all that stuff. I feel like that went over pretty well. Anyways, we're finally at the end here. This is Mr. Mario signing off. Thank you all for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this episode of Thrifty Gaming Pickups, a like would absolutely be appreciated. If you didn't like it, a dislike is fine as well too. And if you dislike it, as I always say, that's totally fine, but you're going to make this very sleepy dog here super, extremely sad. Look, she can't even use the new 2DS as a control, as a pillow. Unbelievable. Damn.